I am so excited for tonight. There is so much happening at 9ATNIGHT.com. And that is the nightly podcast that we have at what time? 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's why we are called 9 at Night. We have an incredible show Monday night. Every weekday night, we have a topic that we cover. Mondays is all about the speech. And what's really good about that is the fact that we have incredible people making a difference, whether it's from Toastmasters through TEDx speakers. It's those that are wanting to speak and share their message with the world. Why not have that opportunity for them right here with us? I can't wait to introduce my co-host. He is just absolutely amazing. He definitely makes a difference when it comes to coaching. He's a certified coach when it comes to helping those make a difference with their speaking skills. And that is none other than my co-host, Shawn Walker. Shawn, I just can't wait to have you say hi to everybody and tell us some of your tips that you start off with.
Well, I just want to say welcome to 9 at Night on Monday night. That's right. I'm Shawn Walker. I'm excited to be here when we kick off on this Monday night. This is the way to start the week. And we have an amazing time highlighting these speakers. And it's just a great time, Christine. I'm just excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to our guest today. But the tips that I have today is all about the introduction. That's right. I want to talk today about the introduction. I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to make an impactful introduction where your audience will be able to follow you. That's right. You want to have your audience engage right out the gate. Did you know that you only have 4 seconds to capture your audience? That's right, 4 seconds. The first 4 things you say out of your mouth, they're paying attention, they're listening. And I just want to start off with the first tip today. You want to make sure in your speech that you have an amazing hook. For example, I'm just going to give you an example. If I had a hook, it would be a moment with Shawn. And that's right. That catches you. You know why? Because I have it on my hat. That's right. So people are going to engage right away and they want to know what I got to say, which leads me to my second point, the transition. The transition of a moment with Shawn is my journey to the big stage. Right there. They want to know, what is his journey? Where is he headed? To the big stage, because I'm looking forward to be the great speaker that I've been called to be. And third is a self-introduction. You want to have a self-introduction for the audience that are listening to you, because if you don't introduce yourself in a way where that makes them feel welcome and establishing credibility amongst them, you will lose your audience. So I will introduce myself, for example, as Shawn Walker. I am an amazing speaker. I have started this journey about 12 years ago, my journey to becoming an amazing motivational speaker. I've had 35 years of experience. I was a high school dropout. I was a guy that was in trouble. So this is what I'm going to be presenting to you. I'm going to talk about my life experiences. That's your self-introduction. And lastly, you want to leave them with a benefit. That's right, value. How can you add value to them? Because the audience want to know, why should I listen to you? Well, I just want to tell you a little bit about my journey, about my life. And guess what? If I can do it, you could do it too. And that's the value that you're going to take away from my overall message. And I am done. Thank you for listening to my 4 tips.
I just absolutely love it. And not only that, I have a couple of tips too. And before you even get on stage, there are some ways you have to start a speech. And mine is the 10-step approach to getting your notes down. just as Shawn said, with your introduction, you have this big wide opener. Well, I'm going to run through these 10 tips pretty fast. If you want to have them sent to you, we'll put it on our Facebook page. That's 9@Night Show on Facebook. So we sure appreciate it. So the 10 tips real quick. Okay. We have quite a bit that takes time when you start making your speech happen. And just a minute. My camera is kind of going buzzy. So I'm going to go ahead and do the tips with Shawn's pretty face on here because it's so worth it. So here we go. Get this back up here. And so excited. So there's Shawn. Okay, I'm going to put Shawn on there. And if my computer, everything is froze up on my computer. I have never had this happen before, and Shawn can attest to that. So here we go. On my 10 tips, it's absolutely important that we work with this. And real quick, we have so much at stake here when it my video is just so funny. Yeah, just go ahead and laugh, Shawn, so we can keep your face on it. Number one is know your audience. Know the occasion. Who are you speaking to? Select a topic that will be good for them. What do you know a lot about so you can put your passion into it? So you select a purpose. What are they wanting to listen to move them? When you're a paid speaker, even when you're practicing on Toastmasters, what do you think the audience is going to want to know? Then number 5, gather your content, do a little research. Number 6, gather more content than you actually use so you are well prepared. Number 7 is organize it in the order you want to deliver it. Depending how long your speech is, if it's an 18-minute, 15-minute, if it's 7 minutes, you really want to talk up just a few topics if it's 7. If it's 45 minutes, then you can cover a little bit more. Phrase the speech, prepare the visual aids, and then, of course, the bottom line is absolutely practice, practice, practice. And I can't say more than that, but that is just how that is. Moving on. Shawn, those were wonderful tips. I just absolutely love those tips that you shared with us. And now we're going to move on because we have a incredible gentleman that's going to be with us. We're all going to get to know him a little bit more. So this is for all those watching this podcast. This is Be a Speaker. Are you ready? We would love to hear from you. Just go to 9@night.com and send us an email and say, I would like to be on the 9 at Night show. That's what it's all about. So our guest tonight, I'm so excited. I'm going to share a little bit about this gentleman before we bring him on. And his name is Paulo Schneider. He's a professional in commercial, residential, corporate real estate, public speaking for executives, and a speaker. This is absolutely a full, balanced, well-rounded person you want to have in your life. He began his career in 1994 in Boston, Massachusetts as a mortgage broker. He's fluent in 4 languages. He was able to captivate a larger market, and with much dedication, he became a successful professional in the field, achieving recognition for several years as a #1 representative within the company with more than 1,800 professionals nationwide, consequently conquering his space among the top 200 mortgage brokers in the country. In 2003, with a partner, he founded Lentegra Mortgage Incorporated, which became a market leader with an annual growth of over 40% and producing over $800 million in annual loan volume year after year. And in 2010, the company was sold to a regional bank. In July 2010, Mr. Schneider moved to Boca Raton, Florida, where he still resides to this day. With the business experience accumulated for the years, he developed several consulting projects between 2010 and 2011 in corporate consulting, amongst them a real estate company, increasing in sales from 17 million a year, surpassing the 100 million sales mark in just 11 months. In 2012, he decided to dedicate himself entirely to the residential, commercial, and corporate real estate sales areas, where he still operates to this day. Now, Mr. Schneider is a highly competent professional with extensive knowledge in all areas of activity and tens of millions in annual sales. He strongly believes that the result of his success is due to the high quality of service provided to all clients, so much so that 99% of all transactions come from references from the customers themselves. Now, amongst many other activities, Mr. Schneider founded the Brazilian American Chamber of Commerce of New England in 2002, based in Boston, where he was president for 3 years. In 2010, he became a member of Toastmasters International and founded the first public speaking club in Portuguese, where he was president for several years. Now, due to his leadership, he became an area director of the organization 2013 and 2014 and was honored the award of Area Director of the Year in the District of South Florida and Bahamas. In 2015 and 2016, he was elected Division Director of Toastmasters, managing over 800 members, and was awarded the Division Director of the Year for the same district. He also served as mentor and co-founder of several clubs, as well as a member of the board of the Rotary Club Boca Raton West, where he served as vice president and emceed all official club events. A frequent speaker at Toastmasters Leadership Institute, where he gave several lectures on leadership and motivation. In addition, lectured on sales training between 2016 and 2019 for Otiz Gaming, American Assemblers, Recommendo Incorporated, and spoke at many Rotary and Toastmaster clubs. He gave several international lectures between 2015 and 2019 in Brazil to attract Brazilian investors to invest in the real estate and corporate market in the United States. I am so impressed with this guy. So right now, let's all meet the incredible Paulo Schneider. Paulo, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. So, oh my God, I cannot even believe that all this reading there is what I've done, and it feels really good. As you're reading this, I'm kind of like traveling through my times, like over like an airplane flying over the ocean, and you kind of like see you're flying in the wind, like like an eagle, right? And you kind of like feel everything. It's all worth it. It's hard sometimes, but man, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Christine, and Shawn. Thank you so much for the opportunity for you to call me and get me on. One day, when I saw him online and posting these things, I said, one of these days I might be invited to be one of your guests. And he said, why not? And I said, I'm in, sign me up. I only, I threw the bait and he caught it. That was good.
Well, it's that mental mindset. Now, you and I were talking before we started this podcast, and I'll tell you, I'm so impressed with, everybody thinks they're the overnight success. With you, it took days, years, early age to get through some many hurdles. Do you mind, because you're incredible, do you mind sharing with us some of those hurdles that not too many people would get through, but you did?
Right. It's difficult, but everything is difficult. Look, the success is out there for everybody to go and get it. Most people want it free-handed. They don't want to do the work. And it's kind of like dreaming when right around the end of the year comes and people will ask you, what's your New Year's resolution? What are the 2 top things? Going to the gym and losing weight, right? Then they go crazy and sign up for all these gyms, all these activities, all these fitness centers, and spend all the money. I'm going to go to the gym every day and blah, 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 lose this, lose that, and get in shape, and voila. And all of a sudden, a week later, they already skip a day. 2 weeks in, they skip 3 or 4 days. A month goes by, they haven't gone for a week. And then they pay that membership for 3-4 months without going. And then they just disappear because, I give up. I can't lose 10 pounds in one day. It just doesn't work. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't, it never does. There's a whole lot of discipline that you have to build starting with you. It's a pure mental game with nobody else except you. And you have to really put it in here and really face it that if it's not you, it's nobody else. So you got to go and do it yourself. There's no mom, there's no dad, there's no neighbor, there's nobody that will help you. There's just not existent. So you have to go out there and really hustle. There will be a lot of disappointments. And you know what? At every disappointment, it is not meant to be negative. It is a learning lesson for your next growing cycle. You know? So you want to go, let's put it this way. You want to go up to a stair set, 100 sets of stairs. There's a certain physical strength you have to have. You got to be in physical shape. You got to take the first step, then you take the second and the third. You cannot just all the way go from step 1 to 5. It doesn't exist. When I was going into in America, when I moved to America, and there's a long story here and all that stuff. We can talk for a long time about this. But I was always told that, you know, you got to set big goals. You got to set goals that are amazing. You got to set goals that, you know, you got to buy this multi-million-dollar home. You got to set those goals like you have to have that Ferrari, that Lamborghini, and you have to go and sit in and take that picture and put it in front of you in that on that board and look at every day at it. And this has to drive you. These are the things that have to make you go. I could never swallow it. I heard that so many times that it drove me crazy. And I tried to put goals and set goals and work at it. And I'm not afraid of working. I work. If I have to go to work to put, you know, for a living, to just put fire off, just call me. I mean, I'm not afraid of anything. I am afraid of something, of heights. That is true. That is true. That I could die from that stuff, but it takes me a while and that stuff. But as far as work ethic and all those things, I'm not afraid of that. I was born very poor. My family never had any money. Shawn talked to me about earlier. He said something about that he was a drop. I know what you went through. I can see me and you. You can see you and me. I see that. You know, we came in different cultures but similar backgrounds. Okay. And it is not easy to being born poor. It's not easy. There are so many challenges you face, so many difficulties you face, and you have to grow out of that hurdle, of that group of people that hope for nothing, just for the next day and the weekend. That's their hope. Oh, tomorrow is a holiday. Great. Tomorrow, Saturday is tomorrow. Oh, let's just go party. That's all they see. I was never that kind of guy. So it was always very, 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 very difficult for me. And in my professional life, when I was in the mortgage industry, when I started in the mortgage industry, it was funny because initially I started sort of in the financial services business. And they sold me all these great dreams, like I mentioned, how to put goals together. One day I got so mad about this goal setting thing, I just wiped everything off the table. I ripped everything off the wall. I worked my tail off and nothing was happening. I worked. I worked 24/7, 25/7. I had quadrupled my hours in time in appointments and made no money. I was physically exhausted. I was mentally crazy already. I couldn't say anything else but see this work. And I was drilled into this thing. And I bought the poison. I just swallowed it. You know, I went for everything. I just wanted to be better at something so bad that I just didn't want to be poor anymore. And I just did not. I smelt the blood in the water, so to speak, that being at the different level, the life is better. It's for sure. But you have to get better as a person, first of all. You have to educate yourself more than anything ever before. You have to read certain books. You have to attend certain classes. You have to attend certain courses, certain seminars, certain things that helps you grow. And you have to go after this. Nobody's going to hand it to you.
I was curious on your question from where you were trying to set goals and you were frustrated to when did the magic happen? And then you're soaring like crazy.
Interesting, because that is the point I was going to. And what I said, you know what? Let me forget that Ferrari. Let me forget that Lamborghini. Let me forget that multi-million-dollar home, because I have no money to pay for that stuff. I figured out I have to first make the first 10,000, then the 20,000, then the 30, then the 40, then the 50, then the 100, not the million. I can't make $1 million if I've never learned how to make 10,000. It's impossible. Your knowledge is limited to that amount of income. In other words, if your income is $20,000 a year, I don't care how good you think you are. That's what the company paid for. And if that is what you earn on your own, that's where your value is. Oh, I have all these degrees. Crap, if you don't make more than that, then that is where your value is. You want to go to $50,000 a year? You have to learn more. You have to improve more. You have to improve yourself. There is no question about it. There's nothing around it. There's no neighbor going to help you. There's no Shawn going to help you. There's no Christina going to help you. There's nobody. You have to do it yourself. And the magic happened when I understood my own potential.
Wow.
I understood one thing, that if I go to one person in the mortgage industry, well, I lived over to the mortgage industry, but I go back to the financial services where I was. I found out that working with clients that have no money to invest, I'm spinning the wheel. I quickly find out that I didn't have the market. Yes, the people wanted to save some money, but they had no money to save. And I was spending all my time trying to educate people that would never get it. I was in the wrong market. I was totally in the wrong market. My passion was driving me down the hole into the Bermuda Triangle, and I was disappearing in there. And I was excited to see, I'm going to see the end of the tunnel. Well, I didn't know that the end of the tunnel was down in the hole, in the dark hole, until I really realized it when a couple of years in, these people called and said, Paulo, hey, I saved some money. I want to go buy a house. Look, in the financial services business, if you get one call a year from somebody who wants to invest money or buy an insurance policy, you better have a parade on your street. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, Chrissy. It doesn't happen. Nobody calls you for that. But they called me and say, okay, I want to buy a house. I said, go down the street to so-and-so. Then the second one came. And I'm looking, go down the street to, I kept doing the same thing. I kept sending business to somebody that I built, the client that I built up. And all of a sudden, bling, bling, the lights went on. And I said, what is this mortgage thing? I had no freaking clue. I was not too long in America. I didn't understand the whole culture of America, right? I didn't know what mortgages were. Back in my country, Brazil, not up to a couple of decades ago, we never had mortgages. If you wanted to do something, build a house, you had to pay it on your own. If not, Forget it. Or you get the loan from somebody in the family, but not from a bank. Not from a bank. Didn't exist. And I was like, what is mortgages? So from so many people that called me on this, I decided to find out what this thing was, because I said, what the hell? I'm giving these people, the clients I'm building. I get no calls for this, and I'm making no money. And I'm giving all these clients, I'm going to find out what this whole thing is all about. I had no clue. I swear to God, I didn't even know what the word meant. So I went down the street and I figured out there was this little shop that had something written, whatever, on mortgages. It was the name of the company. I don't remember anymore. I walked in and there was one person in there plus her secretary. As soon as I walked in, this lady comes out with a bunch of folders. I mean, she must have had some 15 to 20 folders in her hands, and she walks right out. And I asked the secretary, I said, what is that? What is she doing with this? Where is she going? Oh, no, she's going to the bank next door. These are mortgages. This is that one mortgage? No, this is about 20 mortgages. I said, 20 mortgages? I said, well, how much money can you make in every loan? Oh, 3 to 8, 9,000. I said, for all? No, per file. Oh, I'm in. I already had quit in my mind the other job. I was already gone. I said, I don't know what it is. I don't understand the word. I don't even know what the meaning of the word is. I have no idea, but I'm in this business. I don't know what, but I'm in. How can I do this? Oh, no, you have to wait for her to come back. So this lady came back. We had a conversation. I had no clue. Zero. So I walked in and she gave me some thing to fill out. I started as the new mortgage broker. Zero knowledge. I'm telling you, the only thing I knew is that I knew people. And I knew people that wanted to buy. And I grabbed them like a gaucho goes out there and lassos everybody. And I'm out there, drag them in. I smelled the blood in the water. I swear to God. I smelled the money. And this was a couple loans that I did there was so much more than I did in the entire financial services business for the month. And I said, oh my God, this is it. Well, I didn't stay with that company too long because it was just a small shop. They had no training. It was me and whenever she had time. And she was busier than crazy. She made probably $300,000-$400,000 a year at that time when I was making literally $20,000-$30,000 a year in the financial services, and I was killing myself. I was working 24/7, truly 24/7. Made no money. And but I learned one thing. I learned the lesson of techniques and I got a lot of training and the experience. That was my big, hey, I didn't make the money, but I think the hours paid for my education there. And that's how I saw it. So, and I prepared some of my clients for that. That gave me the quantum leap to jump into this mortgage. So I went to this second company. The second company I went to, they were a little bit bigger. They had some training. And these guys, but they were really mean. They were bad. They used very bad language in the office. There was constant discussion and aggravation and some not so nice stuff going on. I didn't like the environment. So I stayed there for about 6 months. So now I had about a year of experience under my belt. So I'm feeling somewhat confident. I'm going to this big company, the biggest company in the New England area. And this was the company I wanted to be because in my mind, I said, okay, I don't want to work for anybody where I have to sell the name of the company and explain to the people that, oh, this is the company and so spend a half an hour just explaining the name of the company, selling the name. I said, my time has to be on selling my product. When I come in, the people need to know who I work for. When I show them who I work for, oh yeah, this is ABC, yeah, no problem. What do you have? That was my mentality. I said, I got to go to this company. I got there, 4 managers interviewed me.
Wow.
They all rejected me. I never felt so lonely, so down deep in the hole, so rejected. I was I mean, I cannot even describe how bad that felt. I mean, I was walking out of the office. I remember to this, I can see myself walking out of this office to this day. I wasn't even walking. I was sliding out like a snake crawls out. That's how I was dragging myself out. That's how depressed I felt. I was disappointed. I said, nobody rejects me. Nobody. And what I'm gonna do? I hadn't quit my job before yet. That second job. I said, I'm gonna go back there, put my ego, my tail between my legs, and go back with my, But I put my thinking head over and learned some more. 3 months later, I went back to the company. They kind of like thought that they recognized me, but 3/4 into the same interview with the same 4 guys, I'm out the door again. I got rejected the second time. That, man, but one thing I learned, I said, you know what? They will hire me one day. I'm not going to let go.
That is so
3 months.
I love it. We need to learn from that.
3 months after that, I went back. So I now had about 1.5 years of experience, something maybe 1 year and 7 months, 1 year and 8 months, something like that. And they still rejected me. Then I said, I never ever failed once. But then again, I never took a lot of jobs. I was one job kind of type of guy, and I put my heart and soul in everything. I couldn't believe it. I said, you know what? Even if I get a job for one day, if they fire me the next day, but I'm gonna go to work for this company. I wanted it so bad. Then about 60 or 90, 60, 70 days, I don't remember anymore, I went back again. And I got rejected by the first 3 guys. I had to go through this process all the time. The 4 managers, these were like, this company was big. They had 4 managers. They all of them interviewed. You had to go one after the other. So the 4th guy was the son of an immigrant. And he told me, Paulo, I can sympathize with you. You remind me of my dad. I said, I'm in now. I'm in. I don't care what you say from this on. Find me a desk, find me a chair, find me a closet. I'm in. And I couldn't wait to tell him that, but I just couldn't get so excited. So I had to hold it for him to tell me the story. And sure enough, he said, I'll give you a chance.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, you had no idea. I was so elated. The fireworks were going over my head, out of my head. In my mind, I was like, oh my God. And he told me, but you got to work under my wings and do everything the way I say. And I said, no problem. When am I going to start? Come in tomorrow and let's go. And I tell you, this was probably the best day of my life because everything started right there. And when I look back, I started to build a relationship, finding out, the first thing I started to find out was obviously get good at what I had to do. And the second thing I started to find out is that who the top producers were.
There you go.
And then I found out who the #1 guy was in the company. So then I went on and said, okay, who gets recognized every year and how many people do you recognize every year? Mm-hmm. And why do you want to know this? I talked to some guys in there. Oh, why do you want to know this? You're not going to get that. These guys are too big. Indeed, they were big. The numbers they produced, I couldn't even see that far. They were monster producers. They was just big guys. I was just starting. They were already 20-something years, 20, 25 years in the business. And
over time, though, Paulo, over time, see, they thought you were in the race for the short term. They didn't know you were in the race for the long haul. And
by then, John, it was already 4-something years in the business. Okay, for something years. And I still had some time to go because I still didn't know much about it. There was so much to learn. There's so many things to learn: product knowledge, people skills, the knowledge how to deal with people, how to paperwork, all this. There's so much to learn. And there's so much you really personally need to grow in order to get in front of a person. And by sitting and by the first half a dozen words you say, they'll have to say one thing: I like that guy. I trust that person. I feel confidence right there. If you can't come across confidently enough in the first 2, 3, 4 words you say, the audience they may be physically there, but mentally they're on their next trip down there somewhere in vacation land, whatever, in La La Land, and you may be talking just to the walls and a physical body, but nothing else. And I got in.
That's what the 4 seconds that I was talking about in the introduction in the tips.
That's exactly what that is. If you can't catch their attention in the first minute or 2, it's over. It's over. And so I got in and I learned and I smelt it. I said, you know what? I saw these guys and I put in my mind, you know what? In 3 years, I'm going to get recognized. I'm going to get recognized. I want to take somebody out. The company always recognized 10 people. And it was mostly the same people for years. I mean, for years, the same 10. And these were guys that they just killed each other. And I looked at them, I said, one of them is going to be out. I don't know who, but I'm going to be in. And I worked my tail off. When it was 6:30 in the morning, I was in that office. When it was 9 p.m., I was leaving. I turned the lights on and I shut the lights off. And I worked in the beginning. I had the same work attitude which I had in the financial services business, except that I was making money. And the more money I made, the more adrenaline. I mean, you talk about putting powder in this thing that just boiled, and I was just getting, I mean, the energy was beyond mind-boggling. And one day, 2.8 years later, the annual meeting and recognition for the company. I knew I had done well. But they would never put out the numbers because they didn't want to spoil it. So it was always a surprise. The recognition, you would know your numbers at the night of the recognition. And there were almost 600 people in this room, this big hotel room. And I remember I was sitting on the very last table. Remember, I was still a junior in this company. I was 2.8 years with the company. And I was sitting way back in this round big table over 10 people. And this good friend of mine was there. And she was the lady that she motivated me a lot. She became one of the great speakers out of New England area and became a big manager for a corporation there. She was a big trainer and she had her things. She was in the industry already for a long time. And somehow she believed in me. But all of a sudden, they started to recognize some people in there. And now the top 10 of the company. And I was sweating. Everything was going on in my body. And all of a sudden, I think I just heard the first letter of my name. I don't remember hearing anything else. I don't remember getting up front. I don't remember if I flew over tables or I pushed people down. I know I was sitting all the way in the back, and all of a sudden I was up front, and I have no idea how I got there. This is the truth of the story. I don't know. I really don't know how I got up front. To this day, I don't remember. And I asked people, I said, oh, you ran through like a crazy maniac. And I don't know. I personally, I didn't know. I wanted it so bad. And when I got there, I realized that, you know what? I could have done a lot more.
Wow.
They gave me a trophy called, it was actually a American football with a little clock built in, the Statue of Liberty. I have it to this day. This was my big thing. And I tell you, that thing meant and still means to me like nothing else. And I realized that day that if you put your heart and soul, you dedicate yourself to get to where you want to go, you get there. The journey is long. It's a hard journey because there's the road, and you know, in the beginning, it's like a 10-lane road.
Yes.
In the very end, it becomes a half lane. And in order to get there, you have to squeeze by. It takes losing weight or getting physically fit to get through. Okay? That's how thin that line is. But you know what? There is no door. The problem is that people put that door or that steel wall in their brain, and that's what blocks them to see that light at the end of the tunnel. And I tell you, I was the only foreigner in there. Everybody was American. And I looked at myself, how the hell, you know, my English wasn't half of what it is today. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It is all about persistence. You fall, you get up, you fall, you get up, you fall, you get up, you fall, you get up. But every time you get up, you know, you are a step closer. The only thing is that you just can't quit. If you quit this job, you have to start another job, unless you want to die from hunger or go to live on government income, whatever that may be. Then it's over for you for sure. But if you want to do something else, you're going to start at the very beginning again.
Anyway.
You're not going to start at the top. And that road to get to the top again is the same journey. It takes the same length of time, maybe a little faster because you might have a little bit more experience right now. You may get around the corner a little faster, but it still takes time.
I have a question for you. Has your book come out yet?
No, you know, I've been,
You
this is something that you know, are you a writer too? Are you a writer too, Christine?
Oh yeah, I've had one published book. I'll be doing another one.
Maybe I need both of your help because I need the kick in the rear end to get this book out there to write the story because I
have a book as well, Paulo.
So, you know, I need one, you know, every so often I get asked this question, but the truth of the matter is that, yeah, a book is valuable. And I tell you.
Yeah, I was just going to say your story of mindset and getting through and just knowing you're going to get the end result no matter what or how many years. That is so powerful because it's real life story. It's not just words on a page. You're an example of it.
I tell you one thing. If you don't like the time it takes, are you planning to die tomorrow?
Exactly.
Are you planning to die tomorrow? Oh, I don't like it takes 40 years for me to 40 years to get me there, 5 years to get me there. Well, are you planning to die tomorrow? You have to ask this question. Because unless you're not thinking about dying tomorrow, then that time will come.
Anyway, and the time
that'll come. You know what the biggest loss is in the history of humankind? Time. It's priceless.
Amen to that.
It's priceless. You can't get it back. You can't get it back. The worst thing about all this is that we are getting older. Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year. I wish I was 25 knowing what I know now. And not just me, I think the rest of the world.
Yep. Yeah, me too. Hello.
So think about it. Now that we have this, we can do it. Do we have another 20, 30, 40 years? Of course. I believe it. I believe it. But you know what? Nothing will change the way you live now to what the kind of life you want if you don't change.
I love that. You know, Shawn, I was going to say, boy, you have a good guest here. He's so phenomenal. We're at the end of the hour. I can't believe it. You just kept reeling me in. Getting in.
Well,
I go, well,
I have
don't want to look too anxious to hear the rest. So, and then he reels me in again.
well, Paolo and I, we have a lot of history. In fact, we were on the phone today. We must have talked an hour or two.
Well, just about, yeah. but I tell you, you know, there's nothing to it. You gotta put the work in. You have to put the work in. There is no such thing of getting around it. You know, there's no such thing.
And if you don't want to be successful, then you're not going to put the work in what it takes to get successful. Because success is just a result. It's just a score on the board. And whatever that score is, it's what you decided to be. Like, for example, when I started doing what I'm doing now, and Paulo, you see me like really all over the place.
Right.
I'm focused and just making things happen. But it takes time. You have to put that time in. And you can't get there you can't cheat the process. You can't cheat the process because no one's coming to save you. You have to go through this process if you're going to reap the benefits of this process. You got to go through it.
You know, it's an interesting point you made. And then it comes about how much money, the process of making money, right? In what I've learned in that career is that how long it took me from making my first 50,000 to my first 75 to my 100, 150, the 200, the 250, the 300, the 350, the 400, the 500, the 600. I never went beyond 600,000, but fact is that that's how much I made in a year. And you know what? I couldn't make that the first year. I did not make that the first year. I didn't make it in the second year. I didn't make it in my third year. It took me 10 to 12 years to get there. Okay? Why? Because I had to grow my knowledge, my experience, and my managerial skills in order to have such a orchestrated plan, a strategic plan in place that the machine would work effectively. You come in, you go through this process, you go out this way, that way, and boom, that is the finished product right there. And I had to build that process. And if I wanted to make more money, I have to replicate or duplicate or triplicate this process. And I learned one thing. Every 6 months, when I worked this way, I increased my income by at least 25%. Every 6 months.
Excellent.
Every 6 months. And it was via a process. There was nothing of a process. And I figured it out. I had no coach. You know, one of the biggest mistakes we all make, I shouldn't say all, but most of us make, most of us make, is that we don't hire a coach. I think that over the years, the cost to you for not having a coach could be far in the millions, maybe tens of millions. Had I hired a coach or a mentor during my career, not just about making the money, but where to put my money.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I wouldn't have to work for a day in my life today for all of my entire life if I lived to 150.
What we're going to do now is we're going to put a little spotlight on our coach that we have here. Speaking of that, we have Shawn with Shawn Consulting. A moment with Shawn is you just have to experience that. And get a hold of him. He teaches you and how to speak from a master presenter. You just heard from our wonderful new friend with Paulo Schneider, who is definitely has earned his way to be on the speaker stage. And he does in many avenues and many corporation and stages. Right now, Shawn, the best way to get a hold of him is 954-818-2299. 514-818-2299. His website is mrshawnwalker.com. Now, Shawn, tell us a quick moment about future leaders.
And thank you, Christine, and guests that are watching. Yes, MFL, which stands for Motivating Future Leader, is a nonprofit organization founded by myself. It is a youth enrichment program where I train youth on how to become effective communicators. That's right, effective communicators, because by doing this, this will help minimize the issues they face with the youth, their peers, amongst the issues that they deal with. However, it also helps bridges the gap between adults and their parents. This is a program that was just kicked off January 10th of last month, 2023. It is in the North Lauderdale district. We are excited about the program. We are making great strides. The kids are learning a lot about this program. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at 954-818-2299 or mfl4life.org. I'm looking to have you guys give us a visit soon. Thank you. Back to you, Kristen.
Excellent. Just love that. And it's motivatingfutureleaders.com. The website is mfl4life.org. We sure appreciate it. We're at the very end of our program. We had an incredible guest, and that's Mr. Paulo Schneider. I hope you go to 9atnight.com. We'll have the recording on there under the podcast by tomorrow, and we definitely want you and encourage you to watch it and rewatch it. Life lessons right there in one show. I'm so excited. Are you ready to be a speaker? Make sure to get a hold of us at 9atnight.com. That's the number 9atnight.com, and get connected. Tell us all about you so we can get you on the platform. Appreciate you. Right now, we're going to go ahead and just say, have a wonderful week and start on your speech.